Hi everyone. So this is new. I don't usually dress up for this, but I thought it'd be appropriate for what I wanted to talk about today. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm growing in the stash a little bit here, and my hair is absolutely out of control. And I'm wearing this because I was recently at a semi-formal event with some friends and family, and coincidentally I was not feeling very well on the day, so I kind of look like that. And my brother-in-law approaches me, who I love. He is just a wonderful guy. He's been my best friend for a long time and was my best man at my wedding, and then married my sister, which is a crazy turn of events, but I digress. He came up to me, and it was very funny because he, in a way that only my brother-in-law can, he just said, "Oh, you look like your tortured artist maxing." And it really kind of struck a note with me, and I didn't laugh, but I thought it was hilarious, because I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And I said, yeah, I'm not trying to, but every artist has to be tortured. That's why we're artists. If we weren't in pain, we wouldn't make art. And yeah, this has been on my mind a lot recently, because I don't know, it's just been rattling around inside my head. It seems like if you look at any of the lives of your favorite artists, they experience serious pain in their lives, and it seems that they channeled that pain into creating something, into art. And there just seems to be this inherent link between suffering and creative endeavors and creative work. I mean, look at, say, like Jimi Hendrix. He had alcoholic and abusive parents. Or look up the life of Flannery O'Connor, or Cormac McCarthy, Frida Kahlo, or any painters, Monet, Van Gogh. They all had horrible lives, which is shocking that they produced art and they were in chronic pain, physically or mentally or spiritually. And my favorite examples of this are Tolkien, who we all know Tolkien made Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings really popularized fantasy. Some would say he created fantasy. I take that as you will, but Lord of the Rings is a beautiful piece of art, and I don't think anyone could deny that. It's absolutely flabbergastingly, it's amazing. But I mean, he was orphaned at a young age, grew up with some friends who then he enlisted and went to fight at the Somme in the First World War, and many of his friends lost their lives in that battle right next to him. Men he knew, and they suffered tragic deaths. Tear gas, and I imagine bayoneting and bullet wounds, and he saw that all. They were right next to him when that happened. And you can see a lot of that in Lord of the Rings, like not in a direct way, where not a lot of like one-to-one correlations, but look at the men of Gondor or Helm's Deep, who've lived these lives being besieged by evil, and the only way that they can overcome it is by being true to each other and holding out and being hopeful. And Tolkien, I imagine when he wrote like the Nazgul, I imagine he was remembering Germans crossing the lines and slitting his friends' throats, and I imagine he was reliving all of those things. And he wrote a letter to his son about when he came home from the war. He was suffering from trench fever, and I think he had just gotten married, and he saw his wife dance through this field, flowers, and he was just so struck by her beauty. And you see this same image, a woman dancing through a field of flowers, and then a man falls in love with. Well, in each story, appears twice in Middle Earth. Tolkien wrote it into Aragorn and Arwen's story, and Beren and Luthien's story. And you can read that. Aragorn sings the story of Beren and Luthien. Both of them, Luthien, or Beren and Aragorn, were mortal men who watched these beautiful elven women who are basically angels dance across a field, and they fall in love with them. And those images, those experiences were so powerful that Tolkien wrote them into this world he created. Another one of my favorite examples is Dostoevsky. His young son, who I do believe was named after him, died from, what was it? I think it was epileptic fits that his father suffered. And I mean, that's just tragic. Like, Dostoevsky brings his son into the world, like, all fathers do. And, every son inherits mortality from his father. None of us can escape that. But in a way that Dostoevsky really saw up front and personal, his son died young. I think he was 12 or 8, somewhere in that age range. And Dostoevsky saw him die from a sickness that he himself suffered from. Like, can you imagine? And that helped him to write Brothers Karamazov, which is, it blows me away. And I'm kind of confused by it. I don't understand why it seems to be programmed into us that we grapple with our pain by making art. And I think you could say that pain is the ultimate truth. Not in a religious way or like we should worship pain, but no matter who you talk to, like, there are people out there who you'll talk to them and they're like really believe in nothing. They'll say, oh no, love, not real. God, not real. No, you can't. Goodness, not real. But as soon as you mention pain, they cannot deny that. It's so difficult to denounce pain. So I think you could say that pain seems to be the ultimate truth. It seems to be a crux of the human experience. And it seems to me that we've had art forever. I mean, you can go and find ancient, paintings and carvings that seem to be millennia old. And maybe, just like pain, art has been with us forever. And I mean, even if you say like you're a Christian, I've sometimes wondered if God, and now I know that a lot of, if there are any theologists here, they're going to be like, oh, this guy doesn't, know theology. But honestly, I sometimes wonder if God suffered being without us. Because sure, God doesn't need us. He's God. At least that's what a lot of, I think, Catholics would say. But then why did he make us? Maybe, what if he was suffering? What if he felt the pain of the lack of someone to love? Like that sounds like pain to me. And maybe he created man out of that pain, and out of that pain, that's why it's programmed into us. That's why art, the creative process, and pain seems to be like intrinsic to us and in our DNA. And maybe that's why it's so compelling to us. Maybe that's why we can't escape it. Maybe that's why we pay, $20 to go sit in a dark room with people we don't know and watch a movie. Because, and it's easy to say, oh, that was a good movie, or oh, that was a bad movie. But it seems to me that the great films, the great books, I don't care what you're talking about, they always deal with pain. I mean, look like Good Will Hunting. Will Hunting, the poor guy doesn't know what to do with his life. He hates himself. That's a compelling film. There's a reason that film has stood the test of time. I mean, The Godfather Part 2. Look at poor Michael Corleone trying to make his family legitimate. Like, he didn't choose any of that. He was born into it. He was born into situations that he would rather not have been born into. It's not who he is. But he has to try to, make his family legitimate. He has to try to pull his family out of this cycle of crime and hatred and killing and evil that they're rooted in, down to the very beginning of his family's legacy in America. There's a reason that those are considered to be great films, because watching someone else, grapple with their pain, wrestle with that, try to overcome it, I can't think of anything else that would be more compelling than that. And so if you are an artist and you are in pain and you sometimes wonder to yourself, why does this hurt? And I can tell you, writing, sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes it sucks. And not because it's hard, but because it just it brings monsters out of you. You're like, wow, am I really this cruel and evil that I would think this and act this way and be this character? And it brings monsters out of you. You will see the dark parts of yourself when you write. And maybe we need that. If you're an artist and you're in pain, I don't want to say that's a good thing. And I'm sorry, and I feel for you, and I'm here with you. But it's probably what you need to be an artist. I don't know, if maybe a life without pain would not be a life worth living. And if you're not an artist and you are in pain and you wonder why the depths of your consciousness drive you to feel everything so vividly, I would encourage you to take up something, wood carving or painting or writing. And it doesn't have to be good. As beautiful as those ancient carvings are, they do look like stick figures. But they're still with us, and people still study them to this day, and there's probably a damn good reason. So, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. If you want to pick up a pen, or maybe you haven't, maybe you used to, be an artist and you're not anymore, I would encourage you to. I know it's brought a lot of meaning and fulfillment to my life, and I'm very blessed to have the people who encourage me to do it, like my brother-in-law. So I'm gonna try to stop looking like a torture artist, and I probably should start acting like I am as blessed as I have been. So, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All the best.